Alright, hey everyone. So we're gonna run some games with Betsy for a little bit, just so people get a better idea of how you want to play this. So into Dori here, we want to bring in our clash cards. Dori doesn't really have any attacks. Most of the time they'll run maybe Command and Conquer or Nourishing. So pretty much all of your clashes are either gonna tie or you're gonna win. So we're gonna bring in Trounce. It's just a really nice outplay for that. And then we want Staunch, so we have more reactive plays, especially from Arsenal, to get around Reprise. We're gonna run 63 just to hedge a little bit in case if they're running War Axe or Great Axe Dori. It's a more fatigue style build, and you know, when you block out a lot against Dawnblade, it can have some adverse effects where you can just run out of cards accidentally. So 63 is more than safe. Our first hand would be a lot better if we had another blue. We could play Money Where Your Mouth Is and then overpower Anathos for 10. Would be a really good turn 1 punish. Unfortunately, we have our Trounce here instead. I think what we're going to do instead is we're going to tech plating. We're going to pitch our Money Where Your Mouth Is, just because we need to hold some blues in hand. Actually, you know what? No, I'm going to go back on that because we really do need to keep this. It's very important for our game plan, and we're probably just going to try to sink maybe one of our block cards or block out and then just put this in Arsenal and try again. We do need to find these early game. I think they're pretty crucial, and we'll see what we want to do here. I think we want to block with the Trounce and then see if we want to react to sync. We win the clash off the rip. So as you can see here, it's why you play this card. So strong. And we have an Iron Song response. We do know what the top card of our deck now is. So we know that it's a Cranial. So if we sync our Test of Strength, we're actually going to get a Cranial and then we can do our play. So you know what? I say we go for it. And then we can sync into this. See if our opponent has anything else. They do not. And we're going to get a lot of stuff on our turn. The Seismic won't really matter, but we can just pay it back into our tech plating. So we're going to go Money Where Your Mouth Is, and then we're going to go Anathos. We're going to wager the gold, and then we're going to pay 2 for Betsy. We're doing Overpower for 11. So this is a 3-card 11 with an on hit to make another gold. So super cool. Unfortunately, Dori has so many 3-block reactions that she probably could just full block this if she wanted. I think Overpower is really poor into Guard, specifically as Guardian into Warrior, right? Obviously, you would much rather have Dominate. Now Dori gets the gold, which is a pretty, bad reality for this deck. But we're relatively okay with it. The nice thing too is sometimes it really encourages people to be overblocking with armor in the early game, and as we play more, proactive effects, I think you're kind of okay with it as the game goes on. So our hand here, I think we're just going to try to 2-card 8 with the bet big. Opponent does not have an answer again. Now here's the thing, I actually don't think we're going to wager this. I think this is just too easy for our opponent to get through. I mean, all they have to do is give us one 3-block reaction, which, I mean, probably at least 2 of their cards in their hand are an action card, or just another 3-block reaction, and like Iron Song versus, and then they get a Might, a Vigor, and a gold, right? So that's just way too punishing of a tempo swing. So instead, we're just going to present like an actual efficient line, which is just 2 cards for 8 damage. I don't know if my opponent doesn't know. I don't think my opponent knows I wagered this. So this is kind of tough. I think what we're going to do is we're going to wait to have our opponent react to this, and then we can just staunch or see if they want to Refraction Bolters. I think if they Refraction Bolters this early, we're okay with it. Okay, they end up not doing anything. So that probably means that their arsenal is either a Reprise card or potentially a D-React. It's tough because I want the bet big out of my arsenal because I want to put the Staunch in there because the Staunch needs to go there to get around Reprise. But like, man, I think 9 is just not going to cut it this early. So I think we're probably just going to make a Seismic and probably send the Spinal instead. It feels bad holding this in hand. Our hope is that we have 2 blues in our next hand and we can use 1 blue to staunch something in response, and then we can use our other blue and 2-card 8 with the bet big from Arsenal. Our opponent does run both Sync and Fate. It's good for us to know. They have a Sync from Arsenal, so we did read it correctly. Very glad we decided not to go all in on that bet big, right? So you just got to be patient with these. We can now start to keep track. This is a really terrible hand, I'm not going to lie. This is not what you want at all. So we're probably just going to overblock. A little bit tricky because any +1 effect is pretty brutal for us here. Here's what we're going to do though. We're going to risk it because if we get 1 resource, we can at least send the Command and Conquer. Right? So that is... wait, that bug? I'm not sure actually. Not entirely sure. We have a Clash of Strength on top. So bad for us. We're gonna IP2 ourselves here and just pass back. 2 Tests of Strength. Yeah, okay, so kind of rough. Not gonna lie, kind of rough. Our only hope here is like we caught our opponent on like a D-React and Arsenal, something like that. Not super sure though. Seems pretty bad for us, not gonna lie. We can block for 10 though. I probably should shut down the turn. The main issue is that we can't do anything with these 2 golds, so you know the question is, are we just giving up too much? I guess the thing here is that we can see what our top card is. If it's blue, then we can pitch and at least send Anathos. Not an incredible spot to be in, that's for sure. And we know our top card is a Spinal. So we're in the exact same position that we were before. So nothing has really changed. I say we just make a Seismic and then we just move on with our lives. Probably could have got rid of the Staunch, but I do just want to hold on to it because this has been like a weird stalemate. I don't exactly know what's been happening so far. Okay, so this seems pretty good for us, right? We can block for 6. Wait to see. We win our clash, so we are chilling. See if our opponent has some kind of reaction. Blade Fury's pretty good, right? I kind of want to... Oh, it's kind of tough. It's kind of tough. I think we... Unfortunately, I think we just have to staunch this. But maybe we could let this go. Next one's coming in for 4, though. That's so strong. I think we just have to... We have to respond to it now, unfortunately. Nothing happens, it's back to us. This has been such a whack first half of the game. Unfortunately now our hand has gotten a little bit more clunky. 8 is pretty damn good. We could no block here, but they're just gonna Refraction Bolters, and I'm pretty sure we've already seen... This is gonna be their 3rd Supremacy. If they had Listening, they would have played it last turn. So we're just gonna take the L that we lose our Arsenal here, but I'm not giving them a Supremacy turn, especially when this is their last one. So their deck is now like significantly more weak now that they don't have access to that card. And now we can start to play a little bit different. Commanding Performance when we don't even have an Arsenal doesn't matter anymore. We'll just go ahead, we will block for 6. See if they want to respond with anything. I mean, Glint's pretty good, right? There's a good chance we'll probably have to respond with Sync here. Blade Fury, we will respond with Sync. See if they have another pump effect. Swimming's not bad. Swimming's not bad, especially coming in for 5. I mean, Blade Fury is quite strong. I really think this card is quite powerful. The only thing here, though, is that they haven't hit this turn, so I don't really care about the Dawn Blade hitting, because I would rather just have... So here's the thing. Here's where things actually get pretty cool. We're going to gamble on a gold. And if we get a blue, which we do, then we actually just get to 1 card 6, which is like kind of insane, right? Our opponent clears the Sync out, which probably tells us they may have another one. A little bit tricky to determine. They do, I mean, they pitch a Fate. So that means that probably one of the cards in their hand is a reaction. They don't have any way to give go again, so I say that we don't block. We don't block, and our turn's probably is going to be double down into something. I mean, like not paying or not giving them a card off Glint's so important, right? 4 is risky here. So I think what we're going to end up doing is we're going to end up blocking for exactly 4. If they have a pump, it sucks for us. I mean, that's quite bad. But oh well. 1 Dawn Blade counter isn't the end of the world. Let's see here. So we can go Money Where Your Mouth Is. We can wager on this. But 10 is kind of easy for our opponent to answer. We also give them a Might and a Vigor. So it's kind of tricky. Kind of tricky. I think we're blocking out next turn anyway, so I'm not super comfortable going for that greedy of a line just yet. We're hoping to fish out a little bit more of their armor. They were not even interested in blocking it. That's so bad for us. Cool thing here, though, is we can overpower Command and Conquer. Pitching all these. I'm just not gonna... I think what we're gonna do is we're gonna force them to have a buff effect here, and then we're just gonna respond with Staunch Response. Alright, so they do not get an agility token. They're gonna glint, which is probably not that great. They probably should have waited to see if he wanted to do anything else, because I mean this is super punishing for them. Now their turn's just over, and now we get to CNC. Probably is gonna eat the Crown of Providence, which then means that our future equipments are just that much stronger. So let's go ahead, we'll tech plating, and then we'll CNC. Our opponent is all out of glints. They are down 2 Blade Furies. They're down 3 Supremacies. So their deck has gotten weaker already, right? Stuff like that is important to keep note of. We're just going to go ahead and we're just going to block 6 here. We're going to respect any pump, but any pumper is going to answer with sink below and then just return for 4. My assumption, oh, okay, so they do. So we're going to respond with the sink. Means that they're down even more red cards, right? So we're going to try again for our golds. We get a little bit unlucky this time, so we don't get to send 4 here. We're just going to make our seismic and we're going to arsenal our double down. Let's see what my opponent can do with their 4 cards. We actually may not block them at all. Yeah, it's another Warrior's Valor, so we are going to block them. We'll go ahead and we will block with our gauntlets and we'll block like this. Although actually, we kind of just need them to run out of the red Warrior's Valors. Specifically, this is their last one, I believe. So it is kind of hard. I actually think that we block the next Dawnblade. I think we block the next Dawnblade specifically. Although they are going to get their Iron Song counter. This is pretty rough. Our comeback is quite strong though. Although we haven't hit the point in the game yet where... Let's just wait for a little bit more information. So what are we doing this for? We're doing this so we can play this for free and then we go money, seismic, Anathos. So our Anathos is going to be for, I think, 13. We can double wager. Although if they have an answer, it's so bad for us. But let's count. So we know that they pitched 1 Fate. So that means that the next Fate would either need to be in their hand or it would need to be in the cards that they draw. And that means that they would give us Fate. This is 10, 13. Are we willing to risk it all for that? It's a good question. We have 3 gold tokens. We would need to cash in 2. If we lose this wager, we would be down a lot, right? The benefit, though, is that we get to put Staunch in Arsenal. Staunch from hand here isn't doing a whole lot. And we would be able to answer their Dawnblade next turn anyway. I'm going to take a gamble here. I'm going to take a gamble. This may be incorrect. Maybe we should have just blocked out, but I really do kind of like this window. Let's do this again. We forgot we needed to wager, so we are going to wager with our helm. So we're going to do this. And then we're going to come in. There we go. Okay, that's what we were trying to do. So I was like, where are all our tokens? There we go. So there they all are. Now we get to throw a Staunch in Arsenal. We're going to get to 2-card 9 with Spinal, which is pretty sick. Our opponent kept all these cards for this play with Iron Song Determination, so I think we're just going to shut this down with Gauntlets plus Staunch. This is fine. I really don't know what they could have here that would answer this. It would need to be Route, I guess. Route would do it, but I don't. Okay, they do have Route. Now the cool thing here is that it actually doesn't really matter. Oh yeah, because they also we were cool replaying the Staunch, and because we still have our 2-card Spinal. But yeah, we also played it from Arsenal, so we get around the reprice. We're gonna pretend like we don't know that there's a Route down there. So let's see, we have 2 mites, we have 2 resources. So we're gonna go ahead, we're gonna wager this. We're gonna pay for a tech plating, because why not? And then we're gonna come in with the Spinal, and we are gonna wager this. We're gonna give it +1. This is for 12. Our opponent needs to give us every single piece of equipment here. Unfortunately, it does mean our opponent does get some resources and some damage. Right, so I think Overpower is its weakest into Dori compared to, you know, any other hero in the game, in my opinion. I'm counting our Staunches here, see what we can play around for future turns. Still got some. We're going to go ahead, we're going to block 6. Take the Route. It kind of sucks, but if they do Dawnblade here, we're actually pretty chill with this, because it means that we can actually have a fairly efficient hand. Although, let's think about this for a minute. A little bit tricky. Kind of wish we knew the top card of our deck. So if we knew if we could, you know, for instance, just 1-card 6 them again. I kind of want to block with a good time. How many more gold do we have? But we still have 2 golds, unfortunately. It's such a clean block here, though, and we would get to send Boulder Drop. which is a pretty cool card that they have to block, but I think we have to play a little bit more calculated here. Let's go ahead, let's break a gold. We do get our blue, so we are cooking. Let's go ahead, let's send our Amethyst. We get our 1 card 6. Breaking Courage. Oh, did we miscount their supremacies? Maybe we miscounted their supremacies. That sucks for us. Let's go ahead, let's start by blocking 8. Or blocking 9. Trying to think about what they have that would get us here. Not a whole lot I can think of. Like 20 sucks for sure, but okay, we don't have an answer. I say we break a gold again, we try to present lethal. Oh man, we got the worst possible outcome. Terrible, terrible. Wow, we may have lost the game off of that actually. Our arsenal is now locked for the rest of the game. Actually, what we're gonna do is we're just gonna pass with this in hand. We can't afford to have this in arsenal. And also it blocks 4, right? So we IP penalty ourselves, we don't even present 4 damage. We are down so much right now because of that. That's so huge. The only upside here is my opponent's down to 19 cards, so now they have to have whatever they pitch stacked. I do know there's a singing in there, but if we take the time, we probably could count through all this and see how much they realistically have left. We're gonna start by blocking 7. We do win our clash, which is pretty cool. 20 sucks, but could be worse actually. It's more impactful when they have something like Supremacy. And we know that our top card is a blue, which is nice because it means that we know we can win with our gold, right? Oh, I see, they're going for a Blade Flash. Okay. Sure, a Puncture. We'll go ahead, we'll block 6. That was a pretty powerful turn from our opponent, but I don't know how much longer they can keep this up, so we will just pass back to them. We will start by just simply blocking 4. I think if we see these Warrior Valors, it's a little bit more tricky. I kind of want to overblock these because they don't really have any other way to actually get anything through. So I'm kind of comfortable just doing this. Singing is quite bad here, depending on what they get. Although they don't really have much left in deck, so it's not that terrible. Yeah, they would have to use everything here if it's another blue and they only push 1 point of damage. Of course it's good, but could be much worse. I think here we have to gamble on the gold again. I kind of wish I remember our pitch deck better, but it looks like we are rewarded. Because honestly in our pitch deck, I think we've only pitched maybe like 1 red card, I think. I don't remember exactly, but our golds here are pretty much online. And this is really good, right? So we demand an actual card here. Our opponent's down to 3. Now our 1 card hands start to demand things, and we probably have the game wrapped up at this point. We'll see, of course. Anything's possible. But we are in quite a good spot, I will say. With 1 card and go again, I kind of do just want to present 8. So I'm going to force my opponent to have something here, right? Because this is kind of the spot I want to be in. Singing is pretty bad for us here. Not gonna lie. Depends on what they grab, but... Oh, they don't even play any... Did they not grab anything? They just wanted the +1. Okay, I see. I get it. But now that singing's gone, right? Unfortunately, we do kind of need to block here. We could just give armor. The biggest thing here is if we present... Actually, no. If we present 8, it's not lethal. So they don't have to give us 2 cards yet. So I think we're still playing for... We're still playing for the 6 attack, right? Like, they still have to keep on giving us 2 cards. If they give us Iron Song versus, like, we're in a much better spot, right? Because then they go to 1. Now any of our 1 card hands are much more threatening against them. Kind of have to think about singing a little bit here, but I don't really care that much, honestly. We'll go ahead. We'll pitch, we'll send this. They have to give us 2 cards. Actually, let's do it like this. Let's just go Amethyst. They have to give us 2 cards anyway, which means that our 2 card hand with Cranial demands 3 cards, which means that we probably just win the game at that point. Oh, my opponent does have a Fate for Seeing. That's pretty sick, actually. We'll throw this in Arsenal. Still don't think my opponent can win, but let's remember that they do have an overpower, so that is good to know, right? We'll overblock for 6. Maybe a little bit more, but I think they may still have one more twinning, so do kind of want to play a little bit smarter. Okay, now I don't know how my opponent wins, so because we're just gonna rip 3 cards here. It's crazy. My opponent has to use their fate. That's really rough. So now they're working on a 2-card hand. They're probably just gonna lose to proactive fatigue here. Now we just block this with 2. We get to go tech plating into our Anathos, take 2 more cards. Oh, Warrior's Valor is probably not what my opponent wanted to see here. So we will just block like this. We're gonna take... I forgot to make my seismic. It doesn't matter. My opponent loses on the following turn. So all they can do is they can just Dawnblade here. So we'll just block 3. And then we will send Disable for lethal. So grindy game, was kind of tight for a little bit. This was a 24 turn game, but hopefully that kind of showcased a lot of the deck play patterns, right? Like there was a few moments where we kind of gambled on something we maybe shouldn't have. Maybe we should have taken a more aggressive line. So there's always things to reflect on, but hopefully that captures the essence of what the deck is trying to do. So you are pretty defensive, but you are looking for these kind of splashier pivot turns where you kind of wager a lot on certain cards. You use the evasive mechanics to really push them over. And that's kind of the core theme of the deck. So I can do some more in the future if people are interested. Until next time, thank you for watching.